Hey, this is Intermodaltrucker. My name is Larry, and it is Friday evening, and I wanted to put together this video with you guys. I've been talking, and I'm just going to talk to you about my plans and goals. One of the things that you guys know from watching my videos, you might hear it once in a while, is that I'm going through a divorce. I have kind of decided to sit down and change my life around, and a lot of things that I'm not happy about, things I want to change and everything, and things that I want to get done with my life. And I've done a lot of thinking about this for years now. And so the first thing that you guys would probably hear me talk about is that I'm really working hard at becoming debt free. And being debt free means not owing anyone in this world any money. I mean, no car payments, no house payments, no nothing. Buying things only when I can afford them. That's what being debt free is to me. We all grow up and we're taught, to go to school, to get good grades, maybe go on to some school, to better ourselves, and get ourselves a better degree so we can get a better paying job, and then meet that significant other, and then maybe start a family and get a house, and you're sitting here paying a mortgage payment and raising a family and everything else, and you're doing all this and trying to at the same time put a little bit of money aside and maybe get to some type of retirement, and a lot of people, it's like, well, you get to your retirement of 65 or 67 or whatever your retirement age is, and you get up there and you have enough money that if you're put on a very tight budget, you can probably be okay. But the thing is that when you get up there, that you don't really have the physical ability to do a lot of the fun things you want to do and all these other things, and it's made me do a lot of different thinking about it. So I've decided to kind of change my life and try to be happier in the moment now. I've really sat down over about the last year and just really kind of taken an evaluation of these things in my life and everything, and I've decided I'm not where I want to be and I want to change it. So my first thing is I just want to become debt free. So I work very hard every week. I take all my money and I allot it out. I have it all figured out, and paying this and paying that, and getting to a goal of becoming debt free. One of the things is that I am hoping that I'm looking to be on track about June, July. I'm hoping that I'll be debt free in these major things that I have to take care of, and then I have a few little things, and those will just tackle out, and hopefully by like August I'll be completely debt free. So that's where I sit with that. So that is one of my biggest goals right at this moment that I'm working at, and I see that happening. And I had a pretty big milestone happen lately, and it was a very good feeling. So coming to the end of it and getting it all done like I want to, I think it's going to be a great feeling. On the trucking aspect, I'm very happy with where I'm at. Like I've said many times before, I think it's one of the best trucking jobs that I've ever had. It's just a little bit hard for me to work for someone. I heard it. There's actually a channel that I watch. I'm gonna let you guys know a couple of different channels I watch, and you kind of get to what I'm interested in and stuff. But this guy said it. He summed it up really well one time in a video. He said that the name of the channel is Fouch Family Off Grid. Fouch Family Off Grid, I think they pronounce it. It's FOUCH, Family Off Grid. And it's about a family, young family out in Idaho, and they're basically, they bought a little piece of property, and they're building their house, and they're kind of going off grid, and they're kind of doing a homesteading thing and everything, and they have the cutest family ever. It's just adorable. But the guy summed it up really well one time. He said, "I just make a terrible employee," and it really related to me because I'm kind of in the same boat. It's not that I can't perform jobs. I'm not good at jobs. I don't try hard at my jobs and do a good job at my jobs. My employees have always said, "Hey, you're great at this or whatever. And they've always, asked me back if I've left there and stuff like that. They say, hey, we'll hate to see you go. If you ever want to come back, come back. I've never had a bad parting from a job ever. I've always worked very hard. It's just that it's hard for me because I look at it and I go, I could do this myself. And I have done a lot of different things myself. And so it's hard for me to work for somebody else. That's the only problem with it. So with that, what I'm planning on doing is probably around the end of March, I plan on pulling my truck out because it's just so wet out here right now. You can't drive around here with it just make ruts everywhere. So towards the end of this month, it should be drying out enough. I'm going to pull my truck out and put my truck in the shop. I'm basically going to tear my truck all the way down to the frame. I'm going to clean it all up, repaint the frame of it, and just build it back up from there. And what I plan on doing is kind of putting together a whole video series about that, about the truck build and everything else, and doing that. And I will probably ask some of you guys' input on that stuff. And like I've talked about in the past, I may do like a color choice thing where you guys, will kind of vote on different color choices and stuff like that. And we'll go through that. Once I get that truck done, I'm going to sit down and I'm going to make an evaluation. Do I go back independent or do I stay as a company driver? There's different aspects in that. One of the main aspects is insurance. Insurance is a killer. It's just unreasonable. And I mean, as an independent driver, if you don't have an ability like a wife or something that has insurance, through her job or something, it's hard because it's like $1,000, $1,200 a month for insurance for an independent guy like that. It's crazy amounts. I don't know if anybody knows anything else out there that's cheaper or something like that, but I've checked into it and it's unreasonable. And so if I have to pay that much in insurance, it really makes it kind of hard to go independent again because I have to have the insurance for all these laws that are in now and everything. But the thing is that I have it through my company now and I pay hardly next to nothing for it. And to tell you the truth, I got a pretty low plan because I don't like doctors and I go to doctors. But the thing is that if I want to make as much money as I do now, plus maybe another $1,500 a month or so, let's say that, I would have to actually pull in gross probably around $5,000 a week to be able to make this happen. And that's a little bit difficult. I don't really feel that I want to go back over the road doing all that because I used to do that when I was independent, and I used to run East Coast and do all this stuff, and I used to run a lot of miles and work really hard at it. But the thing is that I spent a lot of money too. And so when I sat down and looked at the whole situation, man, I was just, it was so much money going out the door. Yeah, there was a lot of money coming in, but there was a lot of money going out. So I kind of reevaluated things and I changed things around, and then I started doing more dedicated things down to like Indiana. And then I found some things that were paying even better just from like Appleton to Chicago and stuff like that. So I ended up going into that. Well, then that ended, and somebody came in there and underbid me, and I lost that account. So then I decided to go back off and just become a company driver. I stepped out into the market and I looked at the rates and stuff, and the rates had just dropped so dramatically since when I bid it on these loads and stuff. I just couldn't see it happening anymore. So I went back to a company driver and worked on paying off this debt and everything, and then I'm going to reevaluate this. So that's going to be a decision to make after I get the truck all built and everything and all ready to roll. Then I'm going to sit down and look at this. And my heart is telling me that I'm probably going to go back independent. So what kind of independent? I'm actually thinking that I'm going to do the exact same thing I'm going to do now. That I'm going to be a rail driver. I've talked to a couple different ones, and I know that a lot of people have said in the past comments and stuff, well, can't you just lease on and stuff? I don't believe in the lease on deals. I don't like them whatsoever. Um, you're tied in directly to that company. And basically, the way I feel about it is you're a glorified company driver, except you own a $50,000 or $100,000 or $150,000, you know, piece of equipment that you have to do this, you know. So I don't really like that at all because they still basically are your boss. I liked them when I was independent. I liked that a lot better. If something happened with something, I went and did something else. You know, there was no, you know, sitting here arguing with people and everything else. Hey, you didn't do this right. Well, that's the way it is. Well, okay, then, and I go over here and do this. So I like to have that independency. So I probably will go back to it like that. But then I talked to a driver that does independent, and I've talked to a few of them that do they just haul for one company like JB Hunt or Swift or something. I've talked to a few different ones, and the money's okay. It's a little, it would be a little bit of an improvement from what I make now, but not generally great. But I did meet up with this one gentleman, and we've talked a few times over the phone and stuff. And he's run some of his numbers by me and stuff. He's independent, but he's also hooked up with JB Hunt, Swift, and Schneider. And so he can haul all three companies. So if he looks around and the loads aren't there, or if, you know, he's not getting what he wants or something, he goes to a different board and looks at this company. And so that's what he does. And he doesn't understand why more people don't do it that way. I don't really either. And so I might look into that. We'll figure that out once I get my truck done. Once I become debt free, my biggest goal is to pack away some money. To just put the money away and just put it away and build up and build up. The reason why I want to do that is because I want to do something that's a pretty good. It's a big craze right now on YouTube. I don't know if you guys have ever checked this out and stuff, but it's a big thing going on YouTube. It's a kind of a movement going on. And that is people homesteading. Now, there's different meanings to homesteading. And I grew up on a farm and everything else. I know the farming aspect of it all. And when somebody says homesteading, a lot of people will think, well, does that mean you're going to become a farmer and raise animals and everything else? I don't think so. The main reason why is because I do a lot of different things. I don't like being tied into the house and have to be there. I want to be able to go and do different things and leave. And so, you know, what's going to happen with the animals? So I probably wouldn't be doing that right now, probably for quite a while. But homesteading kind of also has a different definition. Different people define differently. And some people say, well, true homesteading is this. Yes, it kind of is, I think, is where you get a piece of property, build a home, you have all your animals and everything that you raise for, you know, eggs and for your meat and everything else that you butcher yourself. You also grow your own garden that you can sustain yourself, everything else. There's also people that defy homesteading and going out to a piece of property and building a home yourself and making that your homestead. That's kind of more where I would probably be at the moment, is to do something like that. So I don't know if it's really defined as homesteading or not, but I have owned construction companies in the past. I can build things pretty well, and so my goal is basically to go out to a piece of property and build my own home. Excuse me. The one thing that I have is I have a love for mountains. I love mountainous areas. I love the views. I just love being up in the mountains. The other thing that I love is I love being in the North Woods. I just love being out in the woods by myself. We used to have a piece of property up by Townsend, Wisconsin. And I'm telling you, every time that we go up there, my wife would just look at me and she goes, "You just love it up here, don't you?" And I would just, you know, I'd be out there working all day long, cutting wood and clearing brush or doing whatever, you know, out there building something. and then we build a campfire, and then I would just sit there and just hang out. We cook some food right over the campfire or something, and I would just sit there and just chill. And she would just say, "Boy, you just love it. You're always so relaxed up here." And I'm telling you, when I'd go up there, I would sleep like a baby. It was just so nice to me. It was just out there in the middle of nowhere, out in the woods. It was awesome. And so I've kind of decided there's really nothing that keeps me in any certain place. So if I have a love for the mountains and I have a love for being out in the woods and stuff, why not I just live there permanently? So I've been looking around for about the last year and a half, 2 years, and just kind of looking at different things. And I really love the UP of Michigan. I like snow. I like a lot of snow. I have a big passion for snowmobiling, so why not live where there's a bunch of snowmobile, you know? So I've been looking around and everything, and up in this area that me and my brother, we usually go snowmobiling and such, is an area that is really not populated a lot, and the land is very cheap. You can buy an acre of land for like $2,000. If you buy a larger parcel, 50 to 100 acres or something like this, you can get that for $500 or $1,000 or less an acre. So it's pretty cheap land. So that's kind of where I'm going to, I think. I've also thought about Idaho. I've thought about moving out to Idaho. Because I just love it out there. I used to vacation all the time as a kid. My family is originally from Idaho, from a place called Emmett, Idaho. And I still have a lot of family out in that area, and cousins and stuff that live out in Boise and all that stuff. But thinking about it, but the thing is that my children are all grown and they're off kind of doing their own lives now, and I'm kind of letting them do their thing. I don't really bother them too much. We try to talk at least once a week or something, and they're usually trying to check in on me about once a month. They usually swing in just to see if I'm, still kicking and everything. And I'm just kind of not pressuring them, letting them start their lives. I remember what it was when you're in your 20s and stuff. It's like I want to get away and go do my thing, So I'm trying to be cool about that and not really, be on them all the time about everything. And they're just great kids. But I got one daughter that is graduating. My youngest one is graduating college this spring. My next older one, she is actually getting married this fall. And I'm kind of thinking probably in a few years there might be grandkids involved and stuff. So I kind of don't want to move all the way to Idaho and kind of move off away from everybody and be so far gone, where I can move up to the UP and hey, maybe it's 5 or 6 hours or something like that to go and see and check in and stuff, and stop in and spoil some grandkids and cause a bunch of havoc and then take off and go home. So I'm kind of really thinking that the UP up in Michigan is probably going to be the place I go. When I do this, what my plan is going to be is to work as hard as I possibly can as soon as I get everything debt free and start saving up as much money as I can, and then turn around and when I get enough money together, turn around and go up and find a parcel of land. And hopefully maybe I could do something where I could find some land where it's maybe like, 40 or 50 acres or something, and buy that from somebody. Maybe they have another 100 acres or whatever adjacent to it, and maybe do, hey, like a purchase thing or something like that with them, talk to them about it. Hey, if you're going to sell it, talk to me first or whatever. So that maybe I can add on to my place or whatever and make it bigger. But the thing is that I will probably go up there and probably build a shop first, because I'm a guy, and what guy wouldn't build a shop first, right? So I'd probably build a nice shop first, and maybe on the back of the shop, build it big enough to pull a semi in, and then on the back of the shop, maybe have like an upstairs or something, loft area or something like that, and make that kind of a living quarters. I would probably just pull out my seasonal camper and stay in there while I was building it, and then build kind of a like an apartment type deal inside there and stay in there for maybe a year or so, and then keep building up money, and then turn around and then build like a house next to it or something. And the house, I'm really kind of pointing towards something with a timber frame structure. I will probably do something like that as the main house, and then I was kind of thinking of a design where I'd have like a couple wings coming off of it, where it would just be a timber frame to start with, and then maybe the next year build a couple of structures off where there'd be extra bedrooms and stuff like that. And then the one big aspect of doing all this is that I want to go completely off-grid. Utilities and everything else and being hooked up to the grid system is just, it's gotten just astronomical. I mean, the prices of, you know, heating and electricity and stuff, and it's killer. And yeah, there's going to be a big investment in all this and everything. My kind of thinking, I've done a bunch of research on this and everything, is to do like a whole solar array and also do like some windmills and stuff like that attached to it and put it off away from the house, because I don't think I really want to have that in with my home and everything and have it kind of sticking out, that's like a sore thumb, but have it maybe back into the property a little bit. And because it's way up there and there's a lot of trees and everything, maybe build it on some kind of big pedestal and put it up, you know, and then have it all come down into like a power house, like a power station, and build that, and then trench off of there back up to the main structure, the electrical coming from that power. So all the power would be all down into this little powerhouse, all the inverters, everything else would be all into there, the battery storage and everything else, and then it'll convert it into 110, and then the 110 can be carried back to the place. So those are, I've talked to a few different companies about it and about the arrays and everything and what they have to offer, and I've gotten a lot of information on it. I've watched internet like crazy. I've talked, you know, and so I've been checking a lot into that. I really feel that's where I'm going to go. I'm not going to be like some of these YouTubers you see and stuff like that, where they're like doing their composting and stuff, where they got like this toilet, they got a bucket in there and all this stuff, you know, and they got this whole composting deal going on and stuff. I'm not looking for that. I probably would do like a septic and a well and everything, but that wouldn't be tied into anything. So that would still be an off-grid situation. So that's really where I go to. Then basically what I kind of have an idea of for income, because what I kind of plan on doing is keep going with the trucking. And when I get to the point that I have enough money to build a home, then what I will probably do is I will probably take off, you know, 3, 4, 5, 6 months or whatever, and then I will turn into build this house, you know, and then I'll build the house up, and then I'll go back trucking for another 6 to 8 months, whatever, build up the house, but I'll build enough money, and then build the next thing. I want to do this all with no credit, pay for it on the spot. So when this is all done, I am debt free. One of the big things up there is resorts, is cabins, hotels, motels. It's crazy up there, guys. The thing is that the way that the snow has gone over the years, we used to be able to go snowmobiling around where I live like crazy. I mean, 15, 20 years ago, this was snowmobile capital, right? I mean, it was great around here. But now we don't really get that anymore. We get snow, and then a couple days later it melts, and then it gets cold again. You know, we don't get the snow and it stays. So it used to be, then you go up to Townsend area above Green Bay. There's that little area, little stretch up there, and that's like the snow place, you know. And everybody started going up there. And actually, the last couple of years, the snowmobiling hasn't been very good up there either. But up there in Michigan, where I'm talking, they actually get around 300 some inches a year. It's just right. It's got lake effect. It's surrounded right there. It just gets pummeled all the time. So when everything else is bad, the snowmobilers go there. And when it gets busy on a weekend up there, you cannot find a hotel. And I mean, like Motel 6s and stuff like this. These places are old and smelly and dumpy and everything else, and they're charging like $150 to $175 a room for these places, and it's hard to get them. So one of the things that I think that I can do to maybe make some income is to build some cabins on my property, and kind of build them with a whole off-grid kind of little log home type structures. Maybe just real small places, little 2 small bedroom, just basically a big bedroom with a wall in between to separate it out, but there's actually 2 bedroom. and then like a little living area, and then a little kitchenette in there and a small bathroom. There's a place up there in South Range, Michigan, and it's called Wilderness Cabins. And this guy here, him and his wife, they bought this piece of property just outside of South Range, and he was a carpenter, and so he built all these little cabins, just what I'm thinking of. They are awesome, awesome little cabins. They were just great, and they're just what I just explained to you. And the thing is, you can't get one. Those things are booked. If you call in like November or December and say, "Hey, I'm thinking about coming up for New Year's," this coming New Year's, he goes, "We're booked." You basically have to book these things almost a year in advance. That's how full these things are. So what I'm thinking about doing is I'm thinking about building my shop, my house, and then over a little bit away from there, hook up three cabins, and I can use those cabins to supplement my income and rent those out to snow wheelers and stuff like that. And I didn't think it was very busy up there in the summertime. I thought it was just kind of a winter thing. But the last time we were up there, we were talking to the guy who owns the Mosquito Inn. It's a bar up there. And we were talking to him and stuff. And he said it's actually busier in the summer with the four-wheelers. So it might be kind of a year-round income there. Other things that I might be doing, I'm not going to stop the trucking or nothing because I am a truck driver. That's how I make a living. When I eventually get up there and moved on there and everything else, I may switch to trucking. I may do some more trucking up there. I may go into like the log hauling or something like that. But who knows what's going to happen in a year or two from now, and we'll see. But the thing is that I kind of want to get all this built up and everything. And hopefully I'm thinking maybe, I don't know, 6, 8, maybe even 10 years from now, this will be all completed and everything. And I'll be sitting up there in the North Woods, sitting out in the back patio and sipping my coffee in a beautiful place and be completely debt free. That's where my goals are going to. The one thing that I kind of have an aspect of is that I would like to I'm doing this YouTube channel and everything to bring you guys on this whole journey and all this, and what goes on with me and all this along. And I kind of find this as like a community. It's a lot of people with thoughts and interests and everything, and we all communicate back and forth with the comments, and I get emails and stuff, and I've talked to a few people on the phone. There's a channel out there that I used to watch. I kind of don't like the way he's gone, so I kind of stopped watching him. But his name of his channel was Wrangle Star. And he does something that he does kind of like what I'm kind of thinking about. It's kind of like modern homesteading, I think he relates it to. And he does a lot of land management and stuff like this up there, and fixes up the property to make it work better for him and all this. And I kind of plan on doing similar things to that, kind of clearing off some of the trees and stuff and using them to build the houses and everything. But then turn around and replant the trees and everything to maybe like Douglas fir and stuff like this, that I can maybe in 30 to 50 years, I'm sitting there and old and retired and sitting around doing nothing, and I maybe go, hey, sell some of these trees, and this would be my nest egg and stuff, and things to leave to my kids and all this stuff. So that's kind of what I'm going for, is kind of like a land management to turn the property into something that can make money over in the future, something to leave my kids in the future. And he does something pretty cool where he does things. He has a big YouTube channel, and what he does is like once a year he has this whole gathering of people that are on his YouTube. And he says, hey, here we are, the top 30 people, or whatever, or you guys are my, my subscribers and everything. You guys, I don't know how he works it out, but somehow he gets like 30 to 50 people out there, and some with his subscribers, and they enter in and say, yeah, I'd love to come, and they come up there and they spend like a week or so, and it's just kind of like a whole fellowship thing and get together, and people sit there and work on the land and hang out and just talk and be together. I kind of thinking that's probably something I'd like to do. Um, I've seen him do it, and I think it's pretty cool what he does. I'm kind of thinking that I will probably build towards that aspect and build that all together and bring you guys along with this journey. So I'm not going. I'm not telling you the guys that, hey, I'm tired of everything and I'm going to become a prepper and tired of the world and all this stuff, and I'm going to live in the woods all by myself, become a hermit or nothing like that. It's nothing of that sort. I'm just tired of everybody taking my cuts of my paycheck and taking everything away from it, and I got this little tiny bit left. I kind of want to go out and make my own way, build my own thing, and get to where I want to be and be happy about the whole process and stuff. So that's where I'm at with all this. I thought I would share that with you guys. This is my thinking, and this is where I'm going off to. A few of the channels that I do really like to watch is I gotta punch up one of them because I forgot to write one down. Let's see, subscriptions. Where is it? There it is. One of them is the Fouch Family Off Grid, and the spelling on that is Fouch Family Off Grid. They're actually on a break right now. They call it their spring break. They kind of have a lot of things that they're trying to get done, so they really don't have to time the video or to edit videos and everything. So they say, hey, it's springtime, we take our break, and they do video a lot of this different stuff, but then they don't, they start back up. But you can see a lot of their different footage and everything from over the years. and that is a timber frame home that he has built. That's kind of the structure that I kind of want, but I kind of eventually want to build off of it, maybe a couple like wings off the side of it with like bathroom and a bedroom here, or maybe a bigger one, the kitchenette or something, something, I don't know. I got lots of different plans in my head and how I want it to be built. Another one that I really enjoy is this guy's real funny, and it's a channel that I like to watch, and the channel is called Off Grid with Doug and Stacy. He's a pretty funny guy. He dresses like he's Amish, but he's not Amish. I think he's in Ohio, if I'm correct. I can't remember. Maybe he's not in Ohio. Maybe Iowa or something like that. It's someplace kind of in the Midwest, but it's kind of close to Missouri because they do a lot of trips into Missouri, I know, talking to different people and stuff. So he's pretty funny. And he's built his own little cabin out there, and they kind of have their whole homestead there, and he's 100% off grid. All they got is like a little generator once in a while that they use for when he uses power tools or something like that. But he's Mr. Off Grid, and he does a lot of cool things. I didn't know he does like tours of the Amish community around him, and it was pretty interesting. I found out that they actually have windmills. That you have a windmill and it makes electricity. Well, the Amish have windmills that create air. And what it does is when it turns, it's like an air compressor. And what they do is he shows in one of his videos, and he has like these big propane tanks outside his farm. And they've tapped all these lines in there, and these air turbines, they run, these wind turbines, they sit there running all the time, and it pumps, and it turns a little compressor thing, which pumps air into those tanks and fills those tanks up. And then they have their all barns and their sheds all hooked up with this, and they have really hot summers. But like they use that air pressure to turn motors. Instead of electricity turning the motors, they use air pressure to turn like a ceiling fan and all this stuff. And he was showing it. It was like super hot out, and he went into this workshop and everything, and they got all these, these little airlines running around to these different fans that run off of air instead of electricity. And they had these fans were just slowly turning and everything. And it was like 60, 65 degrees inside this building, and outside it was like 100 or something. It was pretty cool how they cooled, they figured this out, how to cool their buildings down. And they also have that air pressure where it runs different things on the farm, different equipment and the milking and stuff like that. It's pretty cool. So I'm interested in that kind of stuff. So I like to watch him a lot. He's a really funny guy. Another channel that I like is, and I really don't have an interest in doing what they're doing, they build like structures out of like earth bags and stuff like this. It's just they're a really neat family that I watch. And the name of that channel is called My Little Homestead. I believe they're like down in Arizona or something like that. And what they're doing is they have their home. They have what, 3 kids, and they have built, as their kids have gotten older now, they have their main structure, but then they've built another structure for each kid right there in this like little community deal. And it's like their bedroom or whatever, but you know, they don't have plumbing, but it's their bedroom where they live. And they've built them all out of earth bags. I'm not really interested in that and stuff. I wouldn't work at all for up here and stuff. You know, down in the deserts and stuff. Yeah, that would work pretty good, but wouldn't work for Wisconsin or the Upper Michigan. But it's really neat. I like watching their videos, and they just got done with their youngest kid's bedroom. They just got done building her room, and it's actually the whole structure is built in the shape of a heart. It's pretty cool. So you should check those guys out. And then I also had another interest too. I was thinking about doing this for a while, but I like watching a channel, and it's called Living with the Tide. And I think they're from like Britain or Europe or something like that. I can't remember at the top of my head. But it's a husband and wife, and they live on a sailboat, and they just travel around the country and stuff. I actually had an interest in this for a long time. I was really thinking about it and everything else. And John over at JBG Travels is the one who got me interested in it. He forwarded me a couple links, and I started watching this stuff. And I get a big kick out of watching these guys and everything. They're pretty funny. But they're traveling around the country, and I kind of had an interest in that for a while. I was thinking, well, yeah, I could get a sailboat, and I could, do all this and just go off and live in a sailboat and sailing around the world and seeing all this cool stuff. But then I remembered I can't swim so good. so I was like, yeah, that's probably not a good idea. So there you go. There's some of the channels that I watch. If you guys are interested in, and here's another channel that I watch, and this guy is cool. He is a young kid, and I'd say he's in his mid-20s, late 20s now, something like that, around there. And he's just so humorous watching him. And his channel is huge. Let's see. How many subscribers does this kid got? He's got 369,874 subscribers at this moment. And what his name is Chucky2009. And he's actually a really good welder. And I've learned some things off of watching his channel. I've learned a couple different things that I never knew about, and I've welded all my life and stuff, but I've never been to trade school or nothing. And I've learned a few things off watching his channel, but he's got a really good sense of humor and everything. So there you guys go. There's my goals, my plans laid out for you guys. I think it's kind of dangerous to put that out on the internet, out to the world, and now everybody can hold me accountable. But that's what I'm working towards. That's what I'm looking at. So, if any of this stuff kind of interests you guys, hit that subscribe button. Subscribe button right to the right of the subscribe button, you got a bell. You got to click on the bell. Click on the bell, and you're going to get notified every time I put out a video. Otherwise than that, I hope everyone is having a great day, great night out there. And hey, if you're not, we can always try that over again tomorrow. So, I'll talk to you guys later. See ya.